I don't think the modern mass media is capable of policing itself. And I think it's destroying itself. I make a distinction between the free press and many in the modern mass media today. And here's what I mean by that. CNN's ratings are tanking. They try to play to a particular segment of the political world, and they're tanking. The New York Times had to be saved by a billionaire out of Mexico, a telecommunications billionaire. The Washington Post had to be saved by Jeff Bezos of Amazon because they were going broke, and he got it at a fire sale, $250 million. When I was young, I remember it was worth $2 or $3 or $4 billion. Now, technology is some of that, but maybe people just have had enough, and they know they can get on the internet where there's reprobates and all kinds of things, but there's also smart people and smart websites, and people all over the world are providing news and video and so forth. It's my contention that if they don't reform themselves, they're going to destroy themselves. And thanks to new technology, and newer technology we're not even aware of down the road, new news platforms and so forth, we will continue to have a free press in the country, just not that press. What do you think of that?
Well, the marketplace for news is there. Whether or not we have the organizations that can fulfill that marketplace is different. I, in my polls, look at people and I say, well, if I break them up, there's news junkies, sports junkies, entertainment junkies.
Just junkies.
No, and couch potatoes.
Yes.
It's about half the country couch potatoes.
Really?
About 23% of the country news junkies, meaning they really want several times a day to check the news. And they want to get news and information that's accurate, that's fast, that tells them what's going on. And I think they know that the press is really getting the lowest rankings that it's ever gotten, and it's become so partisan that they can't trust. Look, the press missed the Trump election. They missed that there was no collusion. They missed even weapons of mass destruction. So when you talk about the quality of the news, the first and foremost, did they get the big stories right? The fact they didn't get the big stories right, and they've now become kind of driven by clicks in a partisan way far too often, right, has taken them from, hey, I'm here to objectively report the news. No, they want to get out and be press celebrities. And that means they want to get into your business of pushing opinions. And then they want to take those opinions more extreme. And then they want to throw them on Twitter. And so you don't have somebody saying, I don't care if anybody reads my story, I'm going to write it the way it is. And then eventually, I think the marketplace for that is real. If standards don't get restored, you're right, the press will destroy itself. We'll have a free internet, but we won't have a real press that is fueling public opinion the way it should.
And one of the things I see here is, you would think after the Russia collusion disaster, it's a scam. After that the press would be, there'd be like a Gestalt session, a major Gestalt session. They'd get together and say, how do we fix this? Instead, Jeff Zucker comes out and praises the magnificent reporting of his people. The top editor of the New York Times does the same thing. In other words, they dig in. And nobody gets fired. Nobody gets reassigned. The people at the top, Zucker gets an expanded responsibility under AT&T. Nobody's talking about removing anybody at the New York Times. That's not the way the rest of the real world works. If you screw something up for 2.5 years, day in and day out, where you're connecting dots when there are never dots, it's off with their head. And yet the media just keeps chugging along. You talk about they want clicks, but they're not getting them. CNN's, may I say, it's dying, ratings-wise. And again, the others had to be propped up by billionaires. So, is it ideologically driven too, do you think? I think it is.
Well, of course it is ideologically driven, but people are creating narratives. They want to fill those narratives with the stories. But the big narrative really has been opposing Trump. And so they look at everything through the glass of opposing Trump. That's why today the big story was that, wow, people of all sides actually praised the president's speech at the D-Day anniversary. Okay, that's a change. Maybe that's a glimmer of change, because look, you've got to recognize when things are good. You've got to hit administrations when they're bad. Can we get back to that kind of press? I don't know. Look, we're a First Amendment society. To me, and I've written a lot of articles And we've got to have the First Amendment in the workplace. We've got to have the First Amendment so that people can't be fired, boycotted, ostracized because they think or believe things. And we've come a long way from that. But part of the problem is that the press isn't providing objective, continuous information that people can rely upon the way they used to.
And clearly, Pew shows, and it's not just Pew, there have been other studies over the course of the last 10 years, but especially now, that the people don't trust the press. 80% of Republicans, 80% of Republicans don't trust the press. A significant percentage of Democrats do. But doesn't that tell you kind of everything you need to know?
Well, they don't trust the press, they don't trust Congress, they don't trust the politicians, they don't trust the banks. So we do have a trust crisis, and it's led by the press. So who's going to lead us out of this crisis, right? Only the Supreme Court and the military are the only major institutions that people trust rather
And the
than not.
Supreme Court numbers from 20 years ago are
Yeah,
down
they are.
significantly too. All right, folks, don't forget, almost every weeknight you can watch Levin TV. I hope you will. It's a great show. I should know. It's named after me. Levin TV. You can go to blazetv.com/mark, blazetv.com/mark to sign up, or give us a call at 844-LEVIN-TV, 844-LEVIN-TV, and don't forget, and the New York Times hates this, twice, #1 in the New York Times hardcover, nonfiction, and ebook list, on freedom of the press. I hope you'll get it, and I hope you newspaper people out there, you read it and learn from it. We'll be right back.